thought Mary was coming, but maybe not.
Line form? I had my whole value at 322 when I was...
Mayor.
Good to go? I'll call this meeting to order at 7 p.m. Adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Express Times and Star Gazette, satisfying the requirements of the Open Public Meeting Act. If we could please stand for a silent prayer and flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do I have a motion to pay the bills presented in proper form, signed by the director of each department, and approved by the majority of members listed on the bill list?
Second.
Okay, Budzinski? Yes. Black?
Yes.
Van Lee absent. Vangelli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Public comment on agenda items. Is there any public comment on any agenda items?
Judith Forbes, 66 Creek Road. Just on the resolutions, where was the Riverside Tap Room? Who is Corey Wolbach? Is he just buying the same building and having it in the same place, or is it actually moving the liquor license somewhere else? What was the erroneous payment that there's a refund for? What cancellation of a grant receivable balance in general capital for Foch Boulevard, what is that? And what is the Liberty recording system? Where is it going to be used? That's all.
Do you want to handle the liquor license?
The liquor license, no, it's not going anywhere. It's staying in the same place. The person-to-person is simply from one entity to the other. So the first resolution regarding the liquor license is to renew the existing license, which is presently in the name of Tap Room Inc. The second resolution is to transfer that person-to-person from Tap Room Inc. to Corey Wolbach. The next resolution is to renew the license in his name. So it's not going anywhere. That would be a place-to-place transfer. This is person-to-person in the same spot. That's the liquor license.
The erroneous zoning violation were incorrect zoning violations given to two places within the mall, I believe is what they were. The cancellation of grant receivable was a balance we had left on a grant that was given to us by the state. And the Gramco, the other machine is, the machine we purchased, I believe, Wanda, is 4 years old now, 4 or 5?
Yeah, we purchased it in 13.
Yeah, so we've had a lot of issues with it starting to get up there in age, so we're getting a new one, and this one will still be used by the court.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Is there any other public comment on agenda items? Seeing none, we will move on to the attorney's report.
Mayor, the primary thing I need to discuss with you and the council this evening is the ongoing COA litigation, specifically the joint group that we're a part of. If you recall, about a year ago, around this time, actually, we started participating with the joint group. The buy-in cost was $2,000. 284 municipalities are in that group. They each contributed $2,000. So there was, $580-some thousand in the till. That money's been spent. It's gone. I know it sounds like a lot of money, but this group is involved in this litigation all across the state, and they're burning through a lot of money, most of which is in expert fees. They have sent an accounting, actually at my request, they sent it out to everybody. It's mostly Dr. Burchell, who they spent $90,000 on, and that went down the toilet because he had a heart attack. They had to start over with the new expert, Consult, who's $160,000+ into their expert reports, which again are very, very very thick and statistically involved in terms of, income figures statewide and demographics statewide and vacant land statewide. It's an enormously complex undertaking. But in any event, they have spent all their money. And we haven't gotten to trial yet. Right now, there's a mini trial scheduled by Judge Miller for this vicinage in July, and the township's proposed has been extended to July, and he's contemplating an amended order that will take us through October, which is when he expects to have a trial, although I think he's probably optimistic. The mini trial is going to be, I'm not going to participate in that stuff. I'm trying to keep this township's legal fees to the minimum. There's other townships with far more exposure than we have, and their attorneys can have at it in terms of the actual trial, experts and cross-examination and deposition. But to stay part of the report and take advantage of all the outcomes, they're looking for another $2,000 contribution to keep going. Now, I'd say that most townships are continuing to move forward. There have been a couple townships that have simply dropped out, and there's a couple basically that are trying to get a free ride at this point and just send me two responses in every time something is done. I think for some townships it actually did make sense to drop out because their exposure to a builder's remedy lawsuit is nominal. In the case of Blackcomb Township, you guys have obviously a very long and torturous history with another builder's lawsuit, and the old RDS, which became something else, which ultimately became EAI. We still do have a big track up here on the highway that could potentially be an issue. So, from my perspective, the $2,000 is worth the investment to maintain your protection at this point. And where it goes from there, I don't know. The mini trial is supposed to establish a formula because there's a big dispute over how you calculate the numbers. So until we have that, there's not even any real ability for Susan Rule, your planner, or the land use board to really come up with a plan. Right now, all we're doing is working with the consult numbers, which are very doable. But the consult number for this township is much, much, much lower than the Fair Share Housing Census expert numbers by a factor of, I think, almost 200 units. They're 200 units higher. So, that would be a very difficult, problematic number for the township to work with. Unfortunately, I don't like to see you guys have to spend any money, but I think this is the best bang for your buck to kind of keep with this group and trail along in the slipstream, if you will. So maybe other motions or now or whatever, if somebody wants to entertain a motion to advance the next $2,000 installment.
Have they presented an actual voucher for that or a bill?
They don't. They just, last time we did it, we have a joint municipal agreement, so everything's paid pursuant to that.
My question is, do we have money allotted for this budget?
That I don't know.
Mary.
Does,
We can make it subject.
is this based upon exposure or town size? Or what the payments?
Everybody's 2,000, no matter how big or small you are, everybody's been 2,000 for this group. Now, those groups are also, some of the more exposed townships are obviously spending additional monies above and beyond that. But the group stuff is basically all the stuff that deals with the console. And that's obviously the most important part of the puzzle. That's our primary expert. Again, my concern is, you still have EAI out there, although I think that approval is pretty much locked in. I'm not real concerned about EAI. The one I'm kind of concerned about, guys, is Warren Business Park. It's a big tract. There is sewer up there. And, if we dropped out, theoretically, the next day, whoever owns that property could file for a building's remedy to zone block and build 8 zoning units up there. That's the one that kind of worries me in your case. Again, there are some townships that really don't have much vacant land or mostly in the preservation area, the Highlands, which I know we are, but we do have that one problem area. But it's up to you guys. If you don't want to advance the money, we're not going to lose our repose. We'll stay there because we're still part of the judge's order. But we'll kind of be in a never land in terms of the consult results, so.
Well, the fact that we're in, that's planning two, that's the planning two area, that has no, nothing on the fact that there's somebody coming in and trying to turn that into,
The Highlands consistency and all those types of things.
yeah.
Well,
Planning stage two, I mean, that's
Yeah.
part of it,
Yeah,
because it's north of 78.
right. Well, that Warren Business Park is in our planning area.
Mhm.
Right.
That's set up for
That's what I'm
development,
saying.
for right
But
now.
it's set
yeah.
up for
Industrial.
commercial,
Right,
exactly.
and that's my concern.
So could somebody just come in after this has all been done through the Highlands and do that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what a builder's remedy lawsuit is all about, so file a builder's remedy suit, again, it would, which would not be covered by insurance, and you'd be on your own spending right out of the gate, quite a bit of money, that's my concern, because theoretically, whoever owns that business park tract has been sitting there for quite a while. Okay, they could move to upset that commercial zone and put residential there, which may very well not be what you guys are looking for.
No, we're not,
I'm
not.
That's my big concern, Mary, yes, that
All
could
right,
be
well,
an issue.
it's just going through my head, then why are we even in this Highlands planning two area?
Well, the problem with
There are
the,
no protections given to us.
I mean, I think the preservation area to the south, you get a lot
Well,
of protection.
that's separate,
Right.
that's a totally separate issue. I'm talking about the
The
other
opt-
part.
Yeah, the problem with the opt-in procedure, I mean, I think to a certain extent you get protection, but the problem is that in the case of the affordable housing, you're dealing with a constitutional obligation that kind of trumps everything. And the court has taken that away from TOA, and I can't give you a good answer on how much protection you get, and no one else can. That's the problem. It's this big giant mess of a gray area. But I think to avoid any possibility of a builder's remedy lawsuit, again, which no insurance company would not pick up the tab for that if we got sued. And as you guys know with EAI, if they beat us to the courthouse floor, they're ahead of us already right there. So I think for $2,000, it's not 10, it's not 5, it's 2. I think it's probably worth staying in there. So that's my 2 cents on that. I mean, if you want to make the motion subject to certification of funds, I perfectly understand that, but at least I can tell them that we're planning on,
Oh, our CFO is here.
No, I know there is because you had sent that email
Right.
months ago,
Okay.
so there is money somewhere for that, so I think that's appropriate,
I
it
can
makes
tell you right
sense.
now, I mean, you guys already have established in your budget the other escrows that the court required, I believe,
Well, I
And the-
just
and the
know
legal
Lorraine
is-
is working tonight, and you could very
Yeah.
easily ask her if you needed to.
Yeah, no, but it is in there. Kevin had sent what he thought were some exposures.
Yeah, and as far as the legals, as I said, other than when I get dragged down to a case management conference, I just kind of, there's 20 or 30 emails a day in my inbox, and I just kind of glance at them. And most of it's junk, and, it's stuff I don't need to bill for, I can just get rid of it. If there's some major revision to a report, I might glance, but my point is, from my legal standpoint, that it shouldn't be a lot. I can let everybody else out there in front run with this thing. And there shouldn't be a lot of planning stuff from Susan Poole either now until all these mini trials are done, because she can't really put together any further planning without a formula. So that's where we are. So if you want to have to motions, that's fine. That was the big thing tonight, Mayor.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you contacted our former prosecutor about the overpayment?
Yes. And he's supposed to be sending a letter with a check back. But he did say something to me about the fact that
Did he say
He wasn't paid
eight
for-
cases over?
he said something about he wasn't reimbursed for when he had to cover for our current prosecutor last July, once or twice. So you're going to send a letter explaining he was deducting something from
He
what
covered?
sent. Yeah, I guess so. From Mary,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of when he ever covered, because he was like up in arms about,
Right.
he wasn't doing anything unless he.
although I know there
paid
was
for
a
it.
couple Thursdays where she couldn't, she had conflicts, so maybe he covered a couple of those. But yes,
Thursday night, there might have been a
Yeah.
conflict, but she had other coverage.
most of them she had Bob Ballard, but I think there was a couple she didn't. Anyway, a letter and a check is coming back apparently it's a partial refund, so that's what we
Yeah, well, wouldn't it behoove us to have from him something in writing? Rather
That's
than-
what a
That's
letter-
what I'm saying, he's sending us a letter with a check explaining what he's getting
Yeah,
back.
but I'm just thinking in terms of a separate voucher, so that he would be reimbursed for those, whatever it was, and then just return the whole dollar amount to us. That was the overpayment for 2016. That is a better way of keeping tabs on things, rather than
Right.
taking an amount, and then just subtracting from it. Because that's easy to do, but then in terms of tracking things,
Right.
it makes it a little harder.
I think there was a voucher sitting out there, but I'll follow up with Brad and ask,
Would you
if you
please?
guys prefer that, I'll ask him to do that.
Brett,
Yeah.
you said that.
I'm sorry, correct, yes. So, okay.
Anyone else have any other questions for Kevin? Okay, Steve?
So, the road department did crack sealing on various township roadways, Shackletown and River Road. They repaired some telephone pole fences at all the playgrounds, ordered and delivered infield mix to each baseball field. They dragged the infields with their infield machine once a week during the baseball season, hauled road stone to repair Ravine Road from winter damage. Multiple trees were down due to high winds on River and Pinchers Point roads. Emergency generators, yearly services completed, spread additional infield mix on Huntington Ball Field. Attend mandatory safety classes in Belvedere, take salt spreaders off the dump trucks and put snow plows outside the DPW yard for the summer. I guess we're done with that. And applied for cost reimbursement for Winter Storm Jonas through FEMA. Got a couple of things I want to discuss, but you say there's yeah, right on the top. How do you like that? And the land use board report, we have Mr. Hanny, the barber shop on New Brunswick Avenue, has applied for approvals for a site plan and use variance due to an oversight of the applicant's professionals. This item was removed from the agenda, will be heard on the April 25th meeting. The board approved the resolution memorializing use variance, bulk variances, and minor site plan approval to My Ni-Fi LLC, which is the former Pet Stop building. It's that beautiful blue building up on 22. The board discussed changes to the township fence ordinance to allow for deer fencing higher than a 6-foot maximum under certain guidelines, lines, and conditions. Mr. Spataro will prepare a resolution that can be forwarded to council for their consideration. Mayor informed the board that the right to farm ordinance was not going anywhere, no need for the board to discuss. He just suggested it be taken off the agenda. That's that. Now, Kevin, for you, Still Valley Road, there's a washout, 25 feet deep, with no guardrails or anything. So if you or I were to drive into that tonight, they'd find us, driving on So,
Just me and you, they probably wouldn't find us.
They wouldn't care.
They wouldn't care.
But the problem is, several years ago, we filled that, and then we got in a lot of trouble from DEP. So, here's the deal. It's like, you would die if you drive this.
One person has died already.
Okay.
It drove right mirror, two?
Two people.
Okay, I remember
Yeah.
the one there that drove down in.
Oh, it's that same spot?
Right now,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's-
okay.
yeah.
Well, that's one of the
What
ones.
can we do now?
We went over that with Stan Schreck, that spot, you and I.
Yeah, what can we do about that right now? Can we get the road department guys to get, which they can't haul with their truck, but that big riprap or whatever rock and fill it up?
I think you
Bring it
should-
up fairly
I think-
level.
I think you should get Stan Schreck out there, ASAP, find out. I don't know the answer to that.
Well, I don't want to get in trouble with DEP.
Right, that's my point.
Filling a wetland or something.
But he might be able to go directly to DEP and say, hey, look, we have an emergency situation, see if we can't get
I'll call them in the morning.
yeah.
Even the guardrail that's there now is being eroded away to the point that if you ran into the guardrail, it'd probably go right into
Pop right over.
ditch with it.
The section we're talking about, that's the part with no guardrail though, right? That's-
Yeah, I think there's no, is there a guardrail in Donnie or not? No. No, below Edge Road.
It's between Edge Road and the tunnel, correct, Donnie?
Yeah, call Schreck tomorrow. I'd say fill in, but yeah, I am a little bit concerned about the DEP getting fined for trying to do something.
the beneficial. God forbid you use common sense.
Right.
So that's where it is, between Post Road and
I mean, there's places.
You would know it if you saw it.
50 feet, well, maybe not 50, but at least 30 feet wide and 25.
There,
I'll have to look harder.
just drive careful.
All right, so I'll call him and I'm gonna just go ahead and do it and tell them to do what we gotta do once I hear.
Right.
Okay. That's it. I'm not gonna discuss it anymore. Done. I'm all done.
Great. All right, Dave?
Okay, Mayor, I'll give the police report here since last meeting. The police department responded to 469 calls for service. The department issued 124 traffic summonses and made 41 arrests. Is that up a little bit, chief? It
That's up.
seems.
Very busy.
Okay. The criminal investigation unit opened 30 new cases. The department investigated 18 motor vehicle crashes. On Saturday, March 19th, the department had their annual Easter egg hunt at the Pohat School. The event was a success, and all the kids appeared to have a good time, especially the ones that won the bicycles. The mandatory agency training has commenced, and all officers will have completed their training by Friday, April 22nd, 2016. The department completed their semi-annual handgun qualifications. The department has commenced their annual rapid deployment refresher course. All officers will complete an 8-hour refresher course on tactical response to an active shooter event. This year's training will take place at Warren County Community College. Mayor, that's all for the police department. The Environmental Commission, we have not had a meeting since our last council meeting. How's things with the garden, Randy? Are they progressing?
Yeah, we got the sign up yesterday on the fence, for the public, and it's all until, it's ready, you know, we're getting ready to just mark out the plots, and, anybody that's interested, can join up.
Okay, thank you, Randy. That's about all I have, Mayor.
Thank you, Dave. Mary?
Excuse me. The finance department has had their audit completed, and tonight we'll actually be voting on the fact that we looked at a part of it with recommendations. And I think tonight we're voting on that.
Yeah, second resolution.
Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, yeah, there it is. Knew it was somewhere. But anyway, and then there are certain corrective actions in it, and those will be discussed, or not discussed, but explained to the public at the second meeting in May. And some of them are like extremely minor things, others, there's one in particular we'll see every year. And that's because they claim we don't have enough diversity of jobs. But unfortunately, when you're a small municipality, you can't afford to employ like a zillion people, so you can spread things out a lot. So that's going to show up every year regardless. And that's pretty much it for now.
Great, thank you.
Oh, I did read in, our mailing address is Bloomsbury. So we get everything that comes from Hunterdon County, and we also get everything that comes from Greenwich. And so in their little booklet thing that you get in the mail, there was a page in there where they are going to be, now, Jeff, are we done with collecting anything that's, like, you know, we were doing the collection of computers and things like that? Are we done with that?
No.
Oh, we're not, okay. But are they charging us for it?
Yep,
Do they charge you for everything?
yep.
Okay, because from Greenwich, there's a whole list of things that we would normally give to you. No charge for it. The only thing they're charging for is like a television set, and that's $20. So maybe it would behoove you to get in touch with them and see who they have doing whatever.
Well, are the residents not getting charged, or the municipality not getting charged?
From the municipality, from the way it's, and residents, period. It's free.
Because the town eats, like, we, you
The
know,
first section is all free, and there's like a whole list of things that normally you would collect. And then the only thing that there was a charge for was television sets. So I have it at home, I have the paper at home. Actually, what I'll do is I'll bring it in and give it to you, and you can see what they say.
Okay.
So if there's any way we can get around it where no one has to pay anything, that's a good thing.
Yes.
Right, and that's it.
Sal?
The home on, let's see, that would be 519. We cannot locate the owner of this property. It's right on a corner across the street.
Do you have the block and lot?
Yeah,
If you give it to the police chief, will be able to identify it.
we cannot locate the owner.
Yeah, what's the number?
Okay, block 2802, lot, I think that's 7.
Well,
You know the house number?
What is the address?
Right across the street from VIP Cleaners. They got that big sheet of,
Right there on the corner?
yeah, that big sheet of plywood.
where the dragon
In
was.
the front or the back?
What?
Where the dragon was. Remember they had the big dragon head? Yeah.
I don't think,
Yeah.
I think it was 2 apartments. Okay, Shimer School is, slowly deteriorating. I have the factual proof here.
But that's due to vandalism, not the fact that it's deteriorating on its own
Oh,
because of vandalism.
well, it will deteriorate. All these windows, broken, and here's the factual proof.
Wanda,
Okay,
what's his name?
during our meetings, when we end them, old business, we should go over old business. What happened last month, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, and we never do it. We never do it.
Because other times in our meeting,
Well, we never do it. Like, we never bring up the park, we never bring up the pavilion. Like these homes, some of these homes are in bad shape.
I'm gonna bring that up, but as for the park, I went down there, and I saw what you're talking about, and the tennis courts too. Both are bad, all of them are bad.
And, I don't see any money in there. Okay, so, we shouldn't pass old business until we go over some of these, items.
I hear you, but I think you're getting, you're looking at an individual line of the agenda. I mean, this agenda, while a lot of it, we follow the form, I think it's the way our charter's written, and a lot of times our business is brought up during our reports. So that's probably more appropriate time to talk about it.
When?
Like right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we never do. We never do. Now, on River Road, starting at, the Rigglersville Bridge all the way down and up Pincher's Point Road and, 22 vehicles, Jeff. No plates on them.
Where at?
River Road, that's famous.
At the houses, you mean, driveways and?
Yeah,
so somebody has a vehicle parked in their yard.
Without
that doesn't have
plates.
plates on
right.
it. Okay. Well, it's on private property.
It's
Okay.
gotta be covered though, I think,
If
right?
they come.
What do you mean private property?
No,
You
it's-
just can't use
can't have it. You have to
the
cover the
yard
car.
for, stock.
No, it's, I think, 30 days, right? You can have your car without a...
You have to give them
Yeah.
you have to give them a warning first.
Now, what could we do about, Victory Avenue? A lot of the motorists, they avoid, 519 up to 22, and they go through, the Parkside area. I would like to see, some stop street signs
I
put
don't
in
think we
there.
can. We talked about that before.
We did?
Yeah, we can't do it. That would be a good idea if we could, but we can't.
Can't do it.
It requires a traffic study.
On Russell Avenue too.
Yeah.
Probably they can't do it. State, right, Kevin?
Yeah, four-way stops like that are, per Gwen, are nearly impossible to get approved.
We need like a traffic study.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Glad
Because
we got the
intersections-
one on Minnesota
All right.
Road.
For Gwen now.
Yeah.
that hole in front of, the back of the Shimer School, you know, in the middle of the two roads, what we should do is see if we could, apply for a grant to get some type of grading in there. Somebody's gotta go in that hole. That's a dangerous, dangerous situation.
Right? It's the old parking lot for the
Oh, it's
teachers.
in the old parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know, like, Royal Marble, them big slabs of, granite or marble, they're out in front. We should do something about that too.
I had heard they were moving. Really soon.
I heard that 5 months ago, they're
It's not
moving.
legal for them to have anything stored outside. That was part of the resolution. Yeah. Nothing outside. Nothing's happened about it.
That's it.
All right, thank you, Sal. Couple real quick things. The first, again, for everyone that wasn't here last meeting, you'll see ordinance 16-06, repealing the sex offender registry restriction. Again, that is something we are forced to do by the state of New Jersey, so we're not under any, this is not under our own will. I believe that every town has had to repeal that, correct, Kevin? So it's a housekeeping.
It's a cleanup because there's advocacy groups out here that it stays on the books again. It's just another lawsuit we're trying to avoid. And yes, we do have to take it off.
Okay. Also, we'll be removing 16-04, the right to farm. I think we should just, when we take that ordinance, take it separate and then let it die without a motion, if everyone's all right procedurally handling it that way. Another quick note, a lot of people on the northern part of town received confirmation that LMR and Premier trash disposals have merged,
Not
and
just the northern, it's the whole.
so it's the,
All of
well,
Warren
whoever
County.
had, it's Warren and Hunterdon, so,
I know, Hunterdon is getting Premier.
and we're getting
Alomar is
LMR.
getting Warren County.
Yep, so that will, I guess, continue to, they'll be able to provide similar rates to what they've had, so we, I think,
Your day may change, like,
Yeah.
I know our day
Yep.
has changed.
yeah, I think a lot of people's days have changed, but I think a lot of, if you've been here for a couple of years, there was some discussion about going out to bid on trash, and essentially the market created that problem itself, and now there's going to be very few trash companies to go with, so kind of handled itself anyway. We have a resolution, there's two on here, to transfer the alcoholic beverage liquor licenses. I had the opportunity to meet with Corey, the new owner, and I think he's got the town's interests at heart, and I'm looking forward to, this going into someone's hands who will,
Where's this at?
the Old Hoots liquor license. It's being transferred, it's on the agenda to being transferred tonight.
It's called Riverside Tap Room, but it's.
Yeah, formerly known as Hoots.
We have to be extremely careful because, that septic system there isn't up to par.
Yep. That's very true. Yeah. And I'll bring the, yeah, I guess we can go right into that. Proclamation, we do this every month, designating May as Older Americans Month. I unfortunately do not have a copy of that, but, well, while we're waiting, one more thing I did forgot to mention. I had met with Joe Rossi prior to the meeting about when he takes people to court for some of the zoning violations, we're having an issue with the way the ordinance reads as first offense, second offense, and maximum penalties that are awarded. So I think we should have Kevin look into a way that we could craft the ordinance that gives the prosecutor and judge a little bit more leeway, because the way it reads, I think anytime someone brings a lawyer to court with them, they only get hit with one $100 fine, and it's like a slap on the wrist, and then we can't ever do anything. So I think the way we would want to craft it is so that it's $100 per day, separate occurrence. So if they are in violation for 5 days, $500 or whatever. But I think our ordinance reads that way in some parts, but then it contradicts itself in others. So I would be, I would suggest Kevin to review it so we can at least find a way to help our municipal court enforce the ordinances. Joe, I don't know if you just want to say something on that in your experience in going to municipal court with some of these.
Well, the problem we have, it says the first offense, a minimum of $100, right? The second offense, a minimum of $500. So what I have found when I take people to court, $100, they'll clean it up, and I'll take them to court for the exact same thing. They'll say, oh, no, that's already closed. You have to charge them a minimum of $100. I mean, that's the way to fight there. So, but this, then after that it says, which I don't understand this, it says, for the purpose of this section, each and every calendar day on which the violation exists may consist to be a separate and distinct violation. So it doesn't say how much it is. I just like to say, like you said, I give an example. I give somebody May 15th, they don't clean up there. I'll take them to the judge. After that day, $100 per day.
Sounds like
It could be with it, but, yeah, most judges don't, at least for a first, I think the best thing maybe to do, Joe, and again, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this issue. I know Sal's asked it, and I still feel it's a gray area, but I'm gonna try to get it right from the horse's mouth, the AOC, as to whether, how much authority we have to structure the penalty schedule. There was some case law out there, I think, as I've said before in these public meetings, where even having a minimum maximum type thing has been abrogated because it interferes with the judge's discretion, but you see it in a lot of ordinances. So I'm going to try to get to the bottom of that, but in your case, I think maybe the way to clarify second offense maybe be anything that occurs within, like, say, a second offense within like 12 months, between the second offense. That would take care of that issue.
Right.
That I know we can do.
Right.
So by next meeting, I'll have some amendments for us to look at.
Kevin, it's
That'll
some
be-
really tough towns that don't have any issues.
Yeah.
I need to look around at some other towns.
Right. We'll get some-
Yeah, we don't need to reinvent the wheel, right?
No.
That's what we have to-
We'll get some good samples.
Some towns, I think, with tremendous fines.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, Kevin, if you were in the ditch, I would come get you.
There we go. Appreciate that, Joe. Not Steve, though. I'm just-
Right.
When we get to public comment, I'm sorry.
So, yeah, I already have made a note to amend that ordinance. I'm also going to be updating and revising our property maintenance, the other ordinance about abandoned properties, because in the end,
There's a lot of properties with a lot of,
well, and the other issue too is the proration of the initial registration fee and stuff, so I'm going to clean that up.
Yeah,
for you
that's the
guys.
other, it's like $88.22 if it's
We're going to
10 months
make
in.
it $500 whether you get the permit, register the first of the year, middle of the year, or one day before the end of the year, it's $500.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you.
Okay. I have the proclamation here for Older Americans Month. We will get a copy of that on the website.
who's included in that?
Doesn't have an age, so whoever wants to be considered. It's very open, the way this reads.
No, you're too young.
Older residents, so relative, right?
You're too young. We're not there yet.
Resolutions, does anyone have any issue taking all the resolutions together?
I move
We take
that-
action on the proclamation.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to move the
I'll
proclamation?
move that proclamation. For a second.
Second.
Slack?
Yes.
Dan Lou? Yes. Vangelli?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
I move that we take all 8 resolutions together unless somebody wants to pull one to discuss.
So you made the motion?
Okay, Babinski?
Yes.
Slack?
Yes.
Dan Lou?
Yes.
Vangelli?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Councilman Babinski, pass down, he'll sign, and pass down, you have to sign 2 of the group affidavit forms.
Oh, for the,
I have the
yeah.
2 original signatures, so each of you sign it and return to me,
Oh,
please.
okay, what, I need to sign.
No, 2 pages, sign your name. and-
Okay,
and
what
on
are the 10, what are the
next
10 lines for? Just for bigger town
Big
councils?
towns.
Oh, okay.
page, just sign your name on one of the lines.
I got you.
Okay, ordinance, can we take 1604 then? Is there a motion for this one?
I mean, you're trying to motion
Trying to let
open
it-
public?
No, I'm just trying to let it die.
No, we're not.
You have to open it to public.
No, can I just let it die then?
No, if we make a motion.
Why don't we let it go? The farmers are happy.
Can we, should we?
I think we should have a motion, open the public, close public, and then if there's no motion to move it, then that's the way.
Why, no, why don't we just let it not even open?
Can we just not even open it?
Motion,
What do you do legally?
I'll tell you what, well, somebody make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to open it for public, and if there's no second.
it dies, okay. So there's-
Okay, I made a motion to open it to the public.
No second?
Hearing no second,
Okay. Okay.
that's it.
Okay. Okay, do I have a motion, anyone have an issue taking 1605 and 1606 together?
But don't we have to have a motion? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead. 1605 and 6, okay.
All right. You're gonna, all right,
So, one, just for the record.
we're gonna take them separate because I think there's dissension on one of them. I think it's the second one. Okay, so could I have a motion to open 1605 to public comment?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye. Is there any public comment on ordinance 16-05? If you do, please come up. You have 5 minutes. No, that's land use.
Land use board is for.
Four. We get an extra minute, yeah.
Yes, we give them extra minutes.
Hi, my name is Dave Norris, and I live with Gray, who's a neighbor in close proximity to where the train lets off, and I assume everyone knows that this ordinance is basically geared towards that with the last meetings and whatnot. You know, when I take a look at the amendment to 1605, there's some limiting language on special event to limit it to the seasonal special event, to limit it to 3 months and 2 days a week. You know, the problem is, are you going to allow people to have seasonal events every season? Traditionally, there's 4 seasons. I think that regardless of, even if you let somebody just have a one-time seasonal event, it's not a special event. Now it's the creation of a venue for an event, your creation of a business, and as I said last time I was here, it's still a subversion of the municipal land use law. There's a case, Bonaventure International versus Borough of Springdale, where there was a restaurant along the beach in Springdale with a 95-seat restaurant, and it was a pre-existing non-conforming use. They started throwing weddings and special events there, and all the neighbors were like, all these cars are coming in. This is not, even though it's a non-conforming use, it's now a new use, and what happened was the court came in and said, you've got these special event people coming here, and yeah, you're still a restaurant, but if you want to have weddings and special events, you have to get a variance. And I think that that case is instructive to what is going on here. The municipal land use law it's well settled. I mean, this is how it's done, and I think that you can't just allow somebody to run an amusement down in a residential zone along the railroad tracks without them getting a variance. And I think that if my client were to challenge the ordinance based on the plain meaning of the municipal land use law, and that you can't subvert a situation where someone needs to get a variance by saying you can have a seasonal special event. I understand that you're making a valiant effort here to limit it to 3 months and to 2 days a week. You're not making any discussion about whether or not the special event can be done at every season, which would be a year-long special event. But you're creating a venue, you're subverting what the zoning law allows in that area, which you can't do. And if you're subject, my client is making the argument that you're going to lose on those grounds. And I think that if you do take a look, at E-code and look across the ordinances of the numerous municipalities across the state, you're not going to find a seasonal special event. I think that was something that was created here. I could be wrong. I tried to make a search across all those municipalities, but I think that ultimately it's a situation where you need a variance, and that's the procedure that the municipal land use calls for. And there's certain, you can allow for a non-conforming use, you can do certain things, and that could be subject to a challenge as well. But this is a much easier situation if you were to allow this to happen. And when the court looks at it, they're going to look at the train as an ancillary entertainment issue based on 1604, which you just already took off the books. But, that ordinance, it said a contiguous property by lease or other legal arrangement, and the land use board already said to the attorney for the train that Mr. Lavery, who's the attorney for the Warren County Board, pointed out a case law from tax court that knocked out the property from being considered a farm management unit. So that is a completely separate business. It's never going to be an ancillary entertainment activity because it's not on a farm unit. The commercial farm property has already been set by the farm board. So now you just have this special event ordinance that subverts the municipal land use law, and if a challenge is made, I don't think that a lawsuit will occur, and it'll just incur expenses and have to go back to the drawing board. Thank you for letting me speak about that.
Before you go, they are in fact coming in Monday, what's the date? Monday, May 2nd is tentatively scheduled. They're going to come in for a use variance.
Yeah, and I think that the issue for the neighbors around the area is that this has been going on for so long, and it's just like there is no right at law or in equity for the train to keep bringing these people here and disrupting them, and the town does nothing to issue a cease and desist and just allows it to keep going. I mean, how much longer they
said they're going to come in for a use variance. If they don't get it, that's it.
But what about while they're applying for it? I mean, at what point?
It's only been another week.
Yeah. The process takes so long to make a determination.
No, that's the meeting.
Oh, you mean you're going to make a call?
That's the meeting, yeah.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with the process.
It doesn't take that long here.
As long as they show up.
Yeah, as long as they show up.
Well,
It won't happen until they show up and they do get the use variance.
Well, thank you.
Is there any other public comment on this ordinance? Seeing none, do I have a motion to close public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it. And then, before we call the roll, just to clarify, this ordinance is not necessarily geared at one area, but I think what this will allow to do, if in the event something is ever approved, this gives the township the leeway to use the police department as a traffic control mechanism, similar to what we use at the vineyards. So that was, I think,
And it's written in that the event would get billed for the police.
Yeah, I mean, we're using the exact same ordinance that was used with Alba, and just
Well, I don't want to see happen to our police what happened for when they could not cover and another department was used, and there were additional charges made to the township, which we had no clue that they were going to occur, or the person at the vineyard.
Yeah, no question.
I was going to say, so to make our police be responsible for that kind of a thing, I don't think that's a very good thing.
Well, it's not making them responsible, but if there's ever a condition put on any applicant that they need to have police presence. This gives them more leeway to bill for service.
Well, it does, I mean,
If
that's what we
the
build
police,
these
Yeah.
without,
yes,
but when
but
they had
if
special
the
events.
police are available though, that's the thing.
Well, no, the problem is they
And-
all passed on over, none of them took overtime, and then we went to a police department that charged a different rate, which we didn't
Well,
know.
they charged us not only the hourly rate, but they also charged us for that.
Well, their most expensive police
Well,
officer sat out there. and-
Insurance, or like the other.
There was an
additional
administrative
things that come
fee
along.
that they charge, which I've never seen
Administrative
before.
fees, exactly.
Yeah, so,
We're not gonna call that department.
yeah, we're not, yeah, the department's not gonna get any phone calls anymore,
But
so.
that's what I'm saying, is I don't want that kind of a situation ever to happen again by saying that our police will be doing the covering. Because if for some reason they cannot do it, then you know, that's not a good thing to put on that.
No, I understood, but this ordinance is not to, I mean, not to engage us in
And the
laws.
reason to have the police there, again, is for the protection of the owner. And actually, the owners, or whoever's running whatever, should be responsible for getting the security that they would need for that particular event.
Yeah, but if you're closing a road, you need police.
Well, who's closing a road?
I mean,
The railroad does.
The railroad does.
Well, that
Alba
shouldn't-
Vineyard does.
That shouldn't be happening.
So that's why
Alba
we're,
Vineyard has the police out there.
Exactly, so-
Directing traffic, they're directing traffic.
Because they close the road for people to walk.
People to cross the road.
On the other side of the street.
Well, first of all, let's be clear, just so you guys understand. I don't know what the railroad's doing.
I don't
but-
think that-
But if somebody applies for first of all, I don't agree with council's case is not on point, because the land use law applies to development. Okay, we already have very specific MLUL definitions of what constitutes development. They're essentially the same in our ordinance. And the special and event ordinance that we have was designed for a situation where there's no change in the parking or structures or anything else that's traditionally a site plan issue. Like Alba Vineyards, again, would be the example. Nothing is changing there, and they're not permanently changing the use. They're changing it 3, 4, 5, half a dozen times a year. So that doesn't fall to the traditional category of a change in use or site planning issue. So the seasonal special event kind of came out of that for us. Now, like with the train, and again, whether they get their variance or not is not this board's jurisdiction, but if they get a use variance for whatever they get approved for is approved. There's no, and for whatever hours and seasonal limitations or anything else that board can impose on that relief if they get it, that's what's going to control that. This seasonal special event ordinance will have nothing to do at that point in time with that use, if it gets a use variance, because that'll be the land use boards, when they do the memorializing resolution, whatever conditions on that approval they want to impose, they can impose. Okay, so I don't believe that this special event ordinance would even cover a use variance situation. The situation would be if you have an existing use that's not really changing except for a temporary, occasional, in this event, seasonal, up to 3-month basis, whether not changing parking, not changing lighting, not changing structures, not really changing the fundamentals of what really goes on there. They're just having a little bit different event. It's kind of between the cracks type of an ordinance. So that's the way I think this ordinance is fairly interpreted. Again, I do agree it doesn't apply to the railroad. I don't know what, it started 6 months, now it's 3, and you guys can do whatever you want with it. It was really originally designed for the occasional sporadic, another one will come to example, you always have, like, let's say you had a piece of property, what if they wanted to move the balloon festival from Alexandria to Marlow to some farm? That's a month-long thing, balloons going off.
Quaker State did that too. Last year, they had to come for special events.
But my point being is that is not traditionally, that might fall between the cracks of a traditional site plan jurisdiction. It's not really development. That's where I think this ordinance gives you guys some heat, because then we can look at it, the chief of police can look at it, he can deny it, and I think there's an appeal process for here, or we can add that in, but that's what this is designed to deal with, kind of between the crack, use of a property, where there's not, anytime, if Alba Vineyards wants to build a single new stick in the ground, or a single new parking space, They can't do that with a seasonal event, they have to transfer a site plan. Same thing with the railroad, they're getting a use variance now for whatever they want to get a use variance for, that'll be either be granted or denied. Has nothing to do with the special event, but let's suppose now somebody, they get their use variance, but nobody's ever taking out fossils or plastic fossils out of the ground, somebody wants to have a wedding there. Well, then our special event comes in. That's what this thing is designed to be, really a filler ordinance, and mostly from a safety standpoint, so that, again, there's not road closures and things like that, but road closures for the railroad, that's going to be addressed, in those gates and all that other crap down there, that's going to be addressed in their use variance. So that, just so we're clear on that.
Kevin, we don't want to
And
change.
what do you guys want to do with this ordinance?
It's
I thought it was okay the way it was, it's
narrow,
up to you guys.
small road, river road, that,
Well,
and
I'm-
have them stop traffic on it. It's not like.
Well, Mary, you're starting to get into
Yeah, and
land
again,
use.
I'm not advocating for or
stuff.
against the variance, that's the board's
Well, the other
jurisdiction.
part too is, somebody should check out, like, there's steps and everything there. They're not up to code. There are other assets, or parts of.
Step
aspects
in,
of
but
this
again,
that
that's
need-
not us.
That's not us. We're approving an ordinance.
And speak up on all that.
Steps are railroad property.
You know,
I mean, I do concur, I did concur again.
And I don't like the residents being put out by stopping traffic so that these people can cross the
I
road.
agree.
Why can they not wait until traffic goes by and then cross the road like we were all taught to do?
Well, that's, you
As
can't,
we grew
Take that
up?
application.
Well, that's because they let 100 people off the train.
Well, then 25 can cross and,
well,
That's Mary, that's
depending
not,
upon
that's
how
not
the
us.
traffic is.
That's not us.
okay, I'll make a motion to approve this ordinance.
Second,
Okay, Baginski?
yes.
Black?
Yes.
No.
Angeli?
are we chasing business away? I don't want to chase no business away. I want to encourage them to come here. You know, to help
The train people don't help anyone except,
Well, no, Sally, you gotta vote yes or no on this.
what?
You gotta vote yes or no.
it doesn't impact on business.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Ordinance 16-06. Do I have a motion to open this to public comment?
So moved.
Oh, second.
All in favor?
Aye. Anyone have a comment on ordinance 16-06? Seeing none, do I have a motion
I
to
move
close and
close
adopt?
public comment and adopt the ordinance.
Second,
Okay, Baginski?
Yes.
Black?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
And Kern?
Yes. Motions, do I have, anyone have any issue taking these all together? Do we also want to put the motion, yeah, for 2,000 for
Co-litigation.
co-litigation?
Kevin, can you just, so we're approving an additional $2,000?
I was gonna, one of your minutes would be a motion to advance an additional $2,000 escrow to the joint municipal group for the co-litigation.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I move the four motions.
second,
Okay, Baginski?
yes.
Black?
Yes.
Van Loo?
Yes.
Angeli?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes. Public comment, is there any general public comment? You, if you want to just come up and, yep, speak.
I've talked to Mr. Rossi about this. There are a number of homes on 627 that are, to say the least, an eyesore. There's one on the corner of Cemetery Road. I just took pictures tonight, that there's garbage cans dumped over. I mean, I don't know how big the rats have to get before we do something about it, but I mean, it's been like that for months. There's another house, a blue house, that has a Century 21 sign on it. Garbage all over there. Okay, there's the house across the street with the blue tarp that waves in the wind. Okay, there's another issue. But the biggest issue is the guy that has the auction business. Okay, he's got a pole that's right out by the road with a decrepit-looking flag on it, the purpose of which I have no idea. If somebody is ever going around somebody there, they're going to end up with that pole right through their windshield. Now, tonight, on the way here, I took pictures of all these places. Okay, and while I was there taking a picture, a box flew out in front of our car. We had to stop, the people behind us had to stop, somebody else ran over it, I didn't get that picture, and then finally, the man who was sitting there with his wife went out and picked it up. He has a bundle of, God knows what it is under there, that the tarp is now on the road. Okay, I don't know how this is being let go on. I mean, property values in this township in Warren County have flatlined. And who would want to live here? I mean, this is going to start to look like a welfare rental place. Who else is going to be able to sell their homes? I wouldn't want to buy a home next to any of those homes. Would you?
Mr. Mayor, may I comment on that, please?
No, we'll let her finish and then we'll,
No, I have pictures, and I'll be happy. I just took them on my cell phone over here. I'd be happy to show them to you.
I agree with everything you're saying. We brought him into court. Go ahead, Joe.
well, no, I think, well, before we let Joe talk, the issue I think that we're having is that we take the people to court and there's no method after we take them the first time to enforce it. And that's one of the things we're talking about tonight is how we can hit people once they've been to court, how to step up the fines and, enforce it as.
Shouldn't the health department be called about the lady with the garbage?
A lot of times they are, I mean.
That's another whole thing. But this other guy with these things out in the road, that's dangerous. I saw an example of it tonight, how dangerous it could be. Because people were going around this box into oncoming traffic. I mean, I don't know what has to happen before something gets done, but that pole has been out there, I don't know how long. I mean, it is right by the road.
Well, I think the first thing with the health department, if you see anything like that, you can contact, we don't have a health department in the town, but the county handles it, and they give us reports, and they investigate it on their own, and then they take whatever action necessary. So if you see something with that, let them know. As far as the immediate concerns like that, I think we can loop in our police department on some of the things like that, but,
Something's going to happen sooner or later.
but,
I said, tonight, the wind blowing the garbage across the
We're
thing.
talking about Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's not necessary. I mean, that's not fair to everybody in this township who takes care of their properties. That's not fair. I mean, when do these people get to have more rights than we do? I've lived in this township for 32 years. I've always paid my taxes. I take care of my property. And for me to have to deal with going past that every time I go down the street, just isn't fair.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
It's the
We're
same
not
way
going
down
to
in
move in
Pines.
this township anymore with that kind of stuff going on. What do you think's going to move into this township?
It's the same in Pinesville with Huff's property. He put up another building under the guise of cleaning the property up, and got more junk there. So it's just, these people just keep going. We don't have, our laws do not work.
They have to be nailed hard. It's got to be.
These people need to be nailed, but we fought this once before, and nobody wanted to do anything. These people need to be nailed. You wouldn't see this in other towns. You just wouldn't see it.
But aren't you supposed to have like doesn't the town have rights to like the first 10 feet of your property? Or something?
Depends where, but the right of way, yes, certain areas.
Yeah.
Well, look, you guys already asked me to take a look at that property maintenance ordinance, so why don't I take a hard look at it, see what we can do, fines. I'll get some of like the Bernardsville type ordinances, we'll take a hard look at what other people are doing. And then again, the answer really is, and again, I've said this before, and actually Steve and I have done this before when last time around and done with this council as well. The problem is that the municipal court, when Joe goes down there, they can issue a fine and they can tell them to clean up. But a municipal court is a court of limited jurisdiction. It's a quasi-criminal court, and they can't direct the cleanup. They can't issue what's called an injunction. So the last 2 or 3 times we've done this, what happens is the township has to spend the money on me filing an order to show cause in the Superior Court to get a judge to order the cleanup. Then, when they don't do it, we actually have done some of these cleanups. And so the problem is all you guys as taxpayers, you have to fund that. Now, eventually we usually get it back because we're allowed to put a lien on that property for the cost of our cleanup. And if they don't pay that lien, we can strike that off at tax sale. But that can be some period of time before you get reimbursed. So the bottom line is to do some of this stuff the right way, we may have to look into just kind of allocating a budget when we have
I
some.
think it's important.
And do that.
I think it's really important. It's looking really bad there. Most of the houses in that area are shot.
Statutes have been updated, so guys, what I'm going to look at, what I'm going to try to look at, you guys, is see whether we can bypass the court and go directly to clean up.
I have heard other towns do.
And I think we can do that.
I think you
Well,
can.
there have
I
been
don't
some
think you
amendments.
have to go to Superior Court.
But we can give them notices, so I'm going to take a hard look at the statute and our ordinances and try to give us some even more teeth there.
Would the officer like to
Make it
see,
less-
would he like to see the pictures that I took tonight?
I'm sure they're out
We've all
there.
seen it.
Yeah. So
I
I,
understand tonight about the box going across the street. I mean,
so I will do that, since I'm doing that ordinance anyway, we'll look at that hard. And try to get some more.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll get some, we're gonna try to get something for the next meeting to review.
Some of the roofs from one side to the other side. They have holes in, you could drive a Mack truck.
Kevin, it's something we need to do by summertime.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, this
Thank you.
will-
Could you just sign in too for the record, just?
Right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pause.
If not first. We'll work on this.
I don't know who you are.
I live on Cemetery Road. My name is Jan Mills.
Okay.
I've lived there for 32 years.
Great, thank you. We have any other,
That's not why you're moving, is it?
It's not why I'm staying,
Okay.
honestly. I'm seeing
But
it
it is,
deteriorate,
you know.
and I'm thinking, how far do I want to stay here and, you know?
Gotcha.
And my neighbors across the street feel the same way. Everybody's panicking.
any other public? Yes.
Ingrid Gray, 7 Snyders. I just want to say that, Sal, I think your suggestion of having old business discussed would be helpful for us that are interested in following some of the things going on in the township. Like, for example, I'm really interested to know the progress and have an update on the new webmaster that we hired, like how long that's going to be before that's up and operational. An update on that would be nice if we could have that. You have one on that?
I don't know if we've heard from the, yeah.
Yeah, you know, that's why I think his idea is a good one. Regarding the hazardous waste collection, we have our hazardous waste coming up, our hazardous waste collection coming up, but we're not taking solvents and chemicals and things like that. But it would be nice if the township interfaced that information with what's going on at the county level. I like to take advantage of the Warren County Pollution Control Authority. They have a hazardous waste this Sunday where they will take that paint. So the paint and solvents and hazardous things that are not on our list of being accepted in Pohatcong on cleanup day, they are available to be dropped off for free at no charge this coming Sunday from 8 to noon. So if residents have chemicals, they could be informed that this is where they could take them, since we're not collecting them.
I was gonna say.
Is that up at the landfill?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Typically, we don't take anything.
No, we don't take any hazardous material.
We never have hazardous
Is that the
collection here.
Public County Garage?
Yeah, and people it would be helpful to have them reminded of that instead of,
I was gonna say, probably.
Information.
Put on the website, I know usually papers are by the clerk's office with all the information.
Well, the hazardous waste is not though.
No, that's a county thing, and they put an ad in the paper. Sal usually cuts it out, an article of the paper, and we put it on the bulletin board.
Like, and where it had all the lists of it and everything.
yeah, it would just be helpful for residents to know about that. That's my suggestion.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Good evening, everyone. Joe Rossi, zoning officer. I was kind of hoping these people would stay here, but they left. But to answer your first question, Marvel told me that April 30th they were leaving. I will stop by again if they're not leaving by April 30th, and I'll take actions with that. To answer that question, and about the structure that person is talking to, I have right here, we have taken that person to court 9 times. Here it is, right here. I sent him a letter, I gave him May 15th to clean up, otherwise he gets a summons to court. It'd be outstanding if you would make that resolution, or ordinance, whatever it is, before that. Now I can go into the court and say, oh, by the way, he has to charge us $100 a day or whatever it is, but the problem, I'm realistic, you can charge a guy $1 million a day, and if he doesn't have a pot to piss in, what are you going to get from it? So we have to take a look at not only making our laws tougher, but what happens if someone has no money? How are we going to clean it up for them? And I agree, I don't want to clean up somebody else's mess. One thing I want to bring up to you, I went to the chief or his detectives or whoever, and I gave him 9 names, and he found out 8 names of those people where they were. We got some of them in court, we got some to clean up there. I just gave him a whole bunch of other names, and he's looking into it, he's going to get back to me. One on Persian is so on and so forth, through Russell Avenue, that's another one he wants to look at to me. The other one is Cemetery Road. What had happened there, I took that person to court, and they cleaned up that place. And then the husband and wife had a divorce, and the wife let the lady's best friend lived in there, and this person is a porter. And then this lady, the owner got sick, and she's in the nursing home. There's so much stuff inside the house, starting to pile on the outside. So I got in touch with the owner, he explained this to me, he says, we gotta clean this up. I guess he ordered a dumpster, he got Boy Scouts to help him out. The lady came out screaming, saying, this is my stuff. Got in touch with the lawyer. The lawyer told me, you don't own the stuff, you can't touch any of this. So I said, we can't keep it like this. He says, give me to the end of April, we need to get this person evicted. So that house that she's talking to is, the person will wait till it's evicted. If not, then I'm just gonna have to come into the judge and say, look, Your Honor, this needs to be cleaned up, here's pictures, let us get a dumpster, if this guy's willing to clean it up, but this lady doesn't want it. Unfortunately, this takes so much time. It's not like you call somebody up to clean it up. 9 times out of 10, you can get this done. But it's the 10th person where you go, like, it's been there. Another thing you got to realize, I'll tell you one thing about this guy that we took to court 9 times, we're going to take him to court the 10th time. A year from now, it's going to be the same way. So, that's what we're dealing with, okay? And I did explain that to the lady. I know she's upset. I agree with her 100%. But, like you said, our laws and our rules aren't as...
Joe, don't I try what? Every week?
Every week Sal comes in and gives me more names to look up and track down. Try to track them down.
I really tried, but...
That's the big issue we have. We're thankful we have the police detective here, because I work in towns where people get a divorce, they get up and leave, and leave the house sitting there for 6, 8, 2, 3 years. I have another person coming in, he says, I don't have a penny. I said, well, you can tell that to the judge. But the judge, pay $50 a month or something, I don't know. It has to be taken care of.
All right, well, we'll involve you in on the ordinance discussion, so you can have some input on what we're, thank you. Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Real quick, I'll just speak on behalf of Fire Chief Supon. He wanted me to thank town and chief here for the police car to get the parking lot temporarily. Slow the traffic over the bridge at Maple and Chestnut. That worked really, really well for the few days it was there. And so I guess
It doesn't take long.
I know, but, I witnessed myself, they literally, for much, I guess, probably isn't the safest thing, but they were coming to a complete stop on the bridge. They had to stop. It worked well slowing them down. He just wanted to know any of the options that were discussed at previous meetings were still on talks or works, and any plans for the future of that intersection.
The Jersey barriers were moved. I saw them all they're up at Crestwood now, right?
Or just blocks, building blocks, concrete.
Oh, I thought those were the...
No, they work, but I don't know if they're DOT,
Yeah, are we gonna move them down? What was I thought we had...
Can we just put a stop sign out there? It's not at the intersection?
I don't think we can put
You stop them
on the bridge?
Yeah,
I don't think we can put a stop sign there.
or right before the bridge. I don't know if you can do that.
I would think it's municipal.
I guess it is. I don't know. Is that municipal road?
I think so, yeah.
Any stop signs that we need to get permission from the state? Don't look at me like that. The DOT, they rule on that stuff.
I thought I read a statute that said that the municipality can put a stop sign up.
Jeff, I'm sorry.
We
If they want.
we can't do four-way.
Yeah, the four-ways,
Yeah, not a four-way, but just putting it up right there so that
Maybe
people
we can
stop.
put up a stop sign.
I think if you do that, you're gonna get everybody that comes down Orange Street to Seaburg, send them out around, so you'll go to shop. There's an intent, or the intent is that going that way. You won't have half as many people going up Chestnut line to make the right, to fly up Victor. If you can put a stop sign, and everybody will come down from Seaburg, they'll do the old loop and go on South Main Street, take them up there.
To stay on St. James all the way up.
It's gonna be the best move.
Right on the other end.
Yeah. So maybe if we did it one way, yeah.
Stop, coming down Chestnut, right at the crosswalk.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a four-way stop, but you got one going that way, one coming the other.
We have a stop sign.
Guarantee that'll take all that traffic, and the truck traffic,
Yeah.
goes up there, and speeds up on our township road, and send them out to South Main. I think that would be the best.
What road is that?
way.
We need to make a motion. to do that.
Hang on, what road is that?
It's technically
Lock Street.
Lock Street.
Lox.
Stop sign will go on Lock Street? Is it Lock Street in the corner or something, or what?
No, just right in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
You would just stop. There's no intersection. You would just stop.
How can we do
Why
that?
don't we,
Just, yeah, cross.
why don't we do an ordinance by first reading title only to amend our vehicles and traffic ordinance?
And the statute I read said is you can do it by ordinance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do it right now?
Let's do a first
First
reading by
reading.
title only, since I don't have it prepared, but
Buses come down through there, Barrow, high school, and kids buses. If you sat down there, they come off out, walk over to St. James, make a right on Schuyler, and just
How-
keep railroad rolling, railroad down.
how would I describe,
Anybody going 30 mile an hour?
how would I describe, how would I just,
You'll make it on the field.
You said we can't do it.
no, we're gonna do it. How do I describe the location? Where, Lock Street, 25 feet or something before, how many feet before that?
I would have to go out and measure it, but it's Lock Street, and then you'd have to actually go out there and look at it and see exactly where you want to put it.
Why don't we do an ordinance tonight if you want to keep this moving?
Yeah, and then you can measure it
We'll
and.
measure it so I can describe it.
Specifications.
Name the bridge.
It'd
We probably
be
name
an
the bridge.
ordinance, I'm sorry, it'd be an ordinance, what number we're up to?
The bridge would have a number.
Is that our
Yeah.
bridge or the county?
Can't hit 1, 2, 6,
We
7.
had to fix it.
Oh, is it?
So ordinance
Yeah.
1607, right, Juan?
Correct.
So we could do tonight 1607, which would be an ordinance to amend our vehicle and traffic ordinance, which I don't know the chapter off the top of my head, but an ordinance to amend our vehicle and traffic ordinance to add a stop sign on Lock Street prior to, do we have a name of that bridge?
No.
Bridge over the
On
Lookout.
what side?
Bridge over Lopakon
Southerly
Street.
side of,
Yeah.
Northern side of the creek.
to add a stop sign on Lock Street,
Northern or eastern.
You can have a stop sign before you go on the bridge from the firehouse and before you go on it from Main Street? Like,
You just have one.
One.
we're just having one?
Just one. And that'll stop the traffic from cutting through Parkside.
Okay, so the description of the ordinance, how this will be between the firehouse and the bridge on Lock Street.
Is that a good spot there?
Where the crosswalk is, right there.
Yeah. The crosswalk is right in that area there. It's got to be before the crosswalk. I can't picture it right now how far the crosswalk is.
So after the firehouse,
I
before the
think
crosswalk.
right after the bridge is where the crosswalk is, so I think that would probably be your best
Leave it
spot.
vague.
So that's the ordinance, and we'll fix it.
So I'll make that motion. that we-
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Babinski? Slack?
Yes.
Van Loo? Yes. Angeli?
Yes.
Kern?
Yes.
Chief, just give me a
Okay,
call,
and
we'll
then
measure it out.
schedule second reading for
Thank you.
23rd.
Yep. Perfect.
So in the meantime, Donnie, you could get if we don't have a stop sign in the yard, get a DOT, regular conforming stop sign. And by the time we do this second reading, boom, we got to throw it in.
Perfect.
That should
Awesome.
hopefully solve the problem.
Any other public comment?
I would like to say the firemen did a good job in front of the firehouse. They put that big concrete pad in. They did one heck of a job. Oh, one other thing.
Hold on, you have a public comment real quick, then you can go.
Oh, I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
Can you tell me what do we gain from having an older Americans Month? What is the advantage, or what is the purpose of it?
Feel good?
Who feels good? You feel good?
It's a great question. Go ahead.
I mean, who started this? Is this from Hallmark Cards or something?
I'm not sure where it's from. I think we do it every year. Every town does it. Yeah.
I missed it. I've missed it over the years. Okay. A question I have, going back to, I think, when Mr. Benbrook was talking about the COA, and we were talking about the property on Still Valley and Edge Road, that property there, that was the...
Business park.
Yeah. That you were more concerned about that being developed than anything else. And what is happening now? There was a referendum to buy the property on High Street, but that, now you're looking for a sewer on that? Is that, I mean, I don't know I don't know, so I'm asking you to please explain what is going on the High Street, the referendum to buy something, and that's all.
Okay. Do you have anything else or that?
No,
Okay.
that's it.
So that, the referendum was for us to purchase the land, and at that time, it was, Chairman John Gardner and I met with the principal at the bank after the referendum, and I believe they wanted somewhere over $5 to $10 million. It was an absurd amount of money that they wanted. And we, the council at the time wasn't comfortable with, going for that.
What, a little over $1 million?
Yeah, I think we were comfortable with that range. And now I think that it's always been in the sewer service area, so I think it's just on the list for approvals, and I don't think there's been any increase in units or anything like that, so someone would have to buy it and then seek approval before the land use board, but there's no, we did try to, go with the bank, but at that time, I believe it was Provident Bank, and they had no...
Well, it died, frankly, Mayor, if you recall, because not only were there issues with the cost, the purchase price, but also because they hadn't perfected their foreclosure. And there's 2 tracks out there. And so they reopened the foreclosure, and that took months for them to get a revised foreclosure judgment.
I think they only have one of them. They don't have, maybe now they have
Do
both,
now.
but at one time they only had one of
My
them.
understanding is they finally have 2, and my further understanding is they've come down the price a little bit, but last time I think the mayor and I checked, it was still in excess of $3 million. So, but my point being, when I was talking about the COA, was that has a defined approval on it already, that we know what it looks like. It's a smaller scale project at this point, 200 plus minus units. That's like, I think it's like 220 plus the COA, something like that. It's not 290, it's lower than that even. But it's basically jammed into that corner down towards the South Main Street end of that. And the rest has to stay open space because of the Highlands consistency approval. So at least we know what we have there. What I was saying is I'm more concerned about the business part because that's a blank slate. And that would be the one I'd be more concerned about if we got out of the litigation or didn't continue to participate. We could end up with some type of a lawsuit on that one, trying to put a zillion residential units in there.
Would they be COA, if someone does decide to build on High Street, would they have to have COA in it?
Yeah, there's 44 units in there.
Oh, as far as what would have to go in there? But right now, you don't have a purchaser.
No, and we don't own it
No,
as,
you don't own it.
yeah. No, but 44 would have to go, yeah.
What bank owns it now?
Provident.
No, I believe a developer or an architect firm has it now. Someone has it, someone bought it from Provident, I believe. Or Provident's using someone. I'm not sure where it is, but Provident did have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Kevin Melvin, 41 Winters Road. I want to just piggyback on the COA conversation and specifically the funding. So I heard you say, Kevin, roughly, Dr. Rochelle, 90K, 160K for e-consult, which there was 500 towns in the $2,000 a piece. That's over $1 million.
No, 284 times 2 is 500.
284? Okay, so there's an
In
additional.
that group, there's 284.
Okay. So ballpark.
They blew through it, yeah. I'm not saying that negatively, I'm just saying that.
No, just the facts.
I will get you guys, I just recently got it, so I will forward, I'll copy, Wendy, she can circulate to all you guys in the land use board too, but, yeah, I was curious too, because when I heard these rumblings, and we never saw an accounting, I do have, it's like a letter accounting, but I will get it to everybody. Most of it was, the biggest chunk was e-consult, there's a large chunk that was frankly wasted with Rochelle, and the rest of it is legal.
Right.
There's a lot of legal in there, no question about it.
So, and I'm just concerned, is this going to be, and I think, first of all, let me make a comment that I think another 2K investment, when you look at the risk-benefit analysis, makes sense at this point. But is this going to be death by 1,000 cuts, where this is going to go on forever until we bleed? And then I guess the question is that money being used for looking at other perhaps municipality-centric items where we may be sitting back on the sideline, or is that being used as the group only? So in other words, if there's a specific town that's doing that, are they pulling those funds out of that?
Well, what's going on basically, no, I think they've been pretty good. I mean, again, they did send some backup too in terms of the billing, and the consul's very clear, but as far as the legal, I'd be more concerned about the legal, hey, are they doing this for the group, or I understand what you're saying. I'll try to get you that backup as well. They did send some of that. But I think mostly, Kevin, what this money's going to be used for now is there's going to be several days worth of depositions of the experts, ours and Fair Share Housing Centers. That is absolutely usable, for everyone. Then these mini trials to come up with what Judge Miller is going to say the formula is. And mostly that there's this big issue with what they call the gap period. Consult's number is so much lower, mostly because of this gap period issue, which there's like a 10-year period where they lump it in with the next 10 years and they eliminate it. Fair Share Housing Center is playing, no, you have to go 6 years, 6 years, 6 years, which is the old-fashioned way to do it. That's going to be a big factor in what our number comes out to, but that mini trial and all that work, whichever lawyers and experts do that, again, we will definitely know directly to the benefit. After that, Kevin, I don't know. I think we should evaluate each request, if there is another one, on its own merit, because by that point, we may not need them anymore.
Right.
We may have enough for Susan Gruhl to say, hey, I have the formula, I have the number,
Right.
what else do I need, and just go off from there, okay?
But you're dead on right about
Yeah.
death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah.
I mean, 5 years from now, if we're paying $2,000 a meeting,
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
No, I know, that's yeah.
Mayor, I have a question for the police chief.
Yeah.
Jeff, in front of VIP cleaners, I'd like to see a sign on the other side of that white line, because what the people are doing, as soon as the traffic backs up,
Make the right.
yeah, they go over that sign. Is there any way possible where we could contact the state to tell them no?
But there is, I will say this, Sal, there is a police officer there a lot.
Yeah. We sit up there all the time. The problem that you have is there's a green arrow light. And when we stop people, 9 times out of 10, they said, I thought it was telling me to go. You have to maintain your lane. I know what you're saying. They're going around. There's only one lane there, and people go around and they make the right up to St. James. We do sit up there all the time. But that's a state road, actually. So,
Could you write a letter to the state?
I could.
Why don't we do
But
that?
I could. Usually it falls on deaf ears, but I could definitely try.
That'd be your first one, right?
Yeah.
Well, we wrote letter after letter to get that light, as I recall. That was one of the ones.
I will try.
Years just to get that light.
That was it, Sal?
Huh?
That was it for that?
Yeah, that's it, to make it safer.
You're right. Okay, one more thing I forgot to mention. I have a meeting on public, oh, go ahead.
Hernandez, 301 River Road. Sal, I agree with you that, and with Ingrid, that there's all business that kind of falls by the wayside, and that reminded me that I had asked you, Kevin, to look at the issue. A town resident contacted me as a member of the Environmental Commission with a question as to where to report the issue of dumping along the Delaware River. Yeah, and I wasn't sure where to refer that person to.
I believe that it's going to be DEP, but I'll follow up with your doctor and contact you directly on that. I did start looking at that, and I think it's going to be DEP, but I'm trying to track down exactly where.
Right, because the Delaware being, I guess, a federal waterway,
I
right?
think the answer is that the feds delegated that.
To the-
Get you where exactly to send that to.
Okay, thanks. And also, by the way, I am happy to be recognized as an older American.
Okay, the only other thing I wanted to mention was I have a meeting this Thursday. Phillipsburg is starting up their rails to trails type thing where they have a hiking and running path, I guess, from Phillipsburg to Pohat, and, yeah. So I think their new mayor and some of their council people, Randy Piazza, are having a meeting on Thursday, and they invited me, so I'm gonna go check it out, and I'll report back to you. I think Mike Margulies and Finnegan go to those meetings a lot, so we'll see what, what they're going on with. Yeah, yep, that's exactly right. So with that being said, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, that was